I'm currently standing in Red Square in Moscow, and it's the year 2024 despite the war and sanctions. To understand how I even ended up here, we need to rewind, all the way back to the beginning. Welcome friends to a new video. Right now I'm at Frankfurt Airport, and today we're flying to Russia, the most sanctioned country on earth. I'll take you along to show what entering the country, crossing the border, and being inside Russia are like. Today's video will also cover the journey there. So follow me on the journey to Russia. Now we first have to get to the gate, and at the gate, I'll tell you how you can even get to Russia in 2024. What options are there and how do I fly to Russia? But first, we need to find the gate, so let's get going. Alright guys, I'm at the gate now, and I'll tell you how to get to Russia in 2024 method 1. The first method is basically that you fly from Germany to Istanbul, have a short layover in Istanbul, and then fly from Istanbul to Moscow. The advantage is that it's fast. The disadvantage is that it costs a lot of money. Then there's a second method, which I also consider to be a better alternative. You can fly to Poland, and then travel from Poland to Kaliningrad. And from Kaliningrad there's a domestic flight to Russia, so you're also flying twice, but the whole thing is much cheaper. The third method, and also the way I get to Russia, is to fly to Estonia, and then take a bus from Estonia to St. Petersburg. The problem is, you often have to wait 5, 6 or even 7 hours at the border from Estonia to Russia. At the border, because there are just so many people standing there and waiting to enter Russia, since it's the very last land border from Europe to Russia. The advantage is that it's very cheap. You pay 100 euros for a flight to Estonia and 30 euros for a bus, and that's it. You just probably have to wait 6 or 7 hours at the border. But that's what I'm doing today. I'll tell you about my experiences, how long it will actually take me to get to Russia, and you'll be there with me.
If someone comes here, that's just how it is.
I landed and I noticed something crazy. In fact, I will be in 3 different countries within 24 hours. I told you I'm flying to Estonia and then from Estonia to Russia, but that's not entirely true. I have another stopover in Riga, Latvia, and now I'm at the airport in Riga. Yeah, this is the cheapest way, that's why I added the stopover. The problem is the flight is now delayed by 5 hours. Instead of waiting half an hour, now it's 5 hours. I think to get to Russia, I'll probably be traveling for about 30 hours. Back then, before the war started, it was just a 2-hour direct flight, so it's really crazy. But I'm the kind of person who doesn't let things like that throw me off. Now I have 5 hours, so I just spend 5 hours doing university work, writing my seminar paper, attending lectures. Whether I'm doing it at home or at the airport, it doesn't really matter. That's the mindset you need to have. Don't let things you can't control throw you off track. So yeah guys, step 1, Riga, we're here. Later this evening, we're heading to Tallinn and tomorrow to Russia. By the way, for viewers who aren't that interested in the journey, I've added chapters to the video. That means you can just skip ahead to the Russia chapter to see my first impressions from Russia. There's also the border crossing, where I talk about my experience of actually getting into the country. That means the Russia chapter is later in the video. But I still want to take you along for the whole journey, for those who are interested. And yeah, here in Riga, the airport, well, it's very small. And what's also good is that they don't have rip-off prices here. Drinks are about 2 euros, sandwiches 4 euros, so I can eat normally until the evening, I'd say. Because in Germany it's really outrageous by now. I saw earlier, still water for 4 euros 50 and so on. So I'd rather go thirsty than get drinks at a German airport, guys. Well, that's a matter of principle. The sun is already setting. We've been waiting that long already. We've landed, and now we're in our second country, Estonia, within 24 hours. And yes, tomorrow morning at 5 AM we'll be heading on to Russia. It's going to be exhausting. Got up at 5 AM today, and tomorrow I'll be getting up at 5 AM again. But yeah, now I'm definitely almost there. Now I just need to catch the bus to Russia. I have to admit, I don't like Estonia overall as much as Latvia or Lithuania, but still, I have quite a few memories connected to Estonia because I shot some of my very first videos here. They're friends, they waited 10 hours at the border. Do you know when that was?
That was 20 years ago.
They say it's not coming.
We were in St. Petersburg.
Yes.
We were. Yes. And I was in the city of Russia at the last minute. Yes. All the best. All the best to you. Bye bye. I think you heard it. On the bus, the man told me his friends were at the Russian border 2 months ago and had to wait 10 hours. So, keep your fingers crossed that it won't be so bad tomorrow. But yeah, I'm ready for anything. Mentally, I'm ready. It's already dark, guys, and my girlfriend isn't here yet. I'll just take you with me again tomorrow morning. Estonia doesn't have much exciting stuff either. Tomorrow, this exciting chapter begins. How long will it take us to get into Russia? Will we even make it? And what will we see in Russia? Because we're not just going to St. Petersburg, but also all the cities along the way to St. Petersburg. We'll see them from the bus too. That'll be exciting. Here guys, 6 in the morning, 24 hours on the road. Now we're heading to Russia. Nastya, are you ready for Russia? I am ready for 10 hours of waiting.
I am Finn's fairy tale.
Okay guys, now I'm calling my breakfast. 2 more slices of pizza from the freezer. So, we're going to take the bus for a few hours now, and then I'll check in with you when we get to the border. When you drive to eastern Estonia, you just see green fields for hours, and it feels like there are no houses at all. No civilization. I wonder what it will be like on the Russian side. Whether it'll also be just fields all the way to St. Petersburg, with no houses. We'll find out, but there probably won't be much of a difference. I mean, it's just a man-made border. But we'll be there in half an hour, and then we'll see how long we have to wait. Okay guys, we've arrived and it's 9:28 AM. Now the timer starts. How long does it take to cross the border into Russia? I've only gotten about 4 hours of sleep the past 3 nights. That's why I think I look extremely exhausted. But it goes on. Today is the last day of the journey and then we've made it. Interestingly, you're not allowed to take euros into Russia. I don't know which side banned it. Whether the Russian side said you're not allowed to bring euros anymore or the European side, but that's the fact. That means I have to get some cash here in Narva, the Russian center of Estonia, and exchange enough money for 2 weeks in Russia. But in any case, I have to get enough because cards don't work in Russia anymore. That means I'll be homeless if I run out of cash. Yeah, everything is different. But what can you do? At least you can already see the exchange office in front of me. I just went to the exchange office and I got a rate of 101 rubles per euro. You have to imagine when I was in Russia 3 years ago. 3 years ago I lived in Russia. Back then, the rate was still at 70. That means the money has increased by almost 50%. So it's worth 50% more. So I think, at the moment, life is pretty good for us in terms of purchasing power, but I don't know how prices have developed in Russia. Inflation has probably gone up a lot too. That means prices are higher. But I think we haven't gone up in the same proportion. I'll show you Narva Castle again. OG fans who've watched from the start know we've been here before. In this castle, we tried to find the last Lenin in Estonia, but unfortunately, it was no longer there. I'm about to show you something wild, guys. Please be patient. I'll turn the camera around soon. I think things like this are crazy. We're so close. Should I point it out? Bam, there's the Russian fortress. All that separates Estonia and Russia is just a few meters. And in a moment, I'll be right over on that side. It's always been cool that these two castles face each other like this. As if both were ready for armed conflict a few hundred years ago. Although there's nothing beautiful about that, it's still historically fascinating. So, yeah, here's the border. I'm going to head back now. Wait, and the timer is set. Let's see how long it takes at the Estonian border. First, I need to cross the Estonian border, then the Russian one, to see which takes longer. I think I can figure out how long we'll be waiting here. Every half hour, about 20 people are let in. And I've counted now, there are 70 to 80 people in line, so 70 to 80 people are ahead of us. That means we need 4 more rounds before we get to passport control. So that means waiting for 2 hours. After an hour and a half at the border, we're now right at the front. That means the horror stories everyone told us don't seem to be true at all. Okay guys, now I'm officially on Russian territory, and it's 12:50 p.m. I think we lined up at 9:30 a.m. That means it was a total of 3 hours and 20 minutes. It didn't take us that long. Sure, 3 hours and 20 minutes is still a long time. How was the experience? Estonia was easy. They let us through. And now comes the interesting part. I arrived in Russia, and the woman, mid-30s, was looking at me oddly. She stared at my face for 10-15 seconds. And then she said, "Alright, you're not getting through here. Sit down for now. We need to check a few things." And I'm telling you, those were the most stressful 15 minutes of the last few years. Because the Western media just plants these horror scenarios in your head. You get scared. I was with Nastya. Nastya was waiting for me, and they said, "Nastya, you may go through. Nothing will happen to him," so we thought everything was fine. But I remembered I had signed something and thought, fuck no. I also imagined many things about what I had signed. But then it was just a small visa again. Actually, they were all nice. It was still stressful because you were scrutinized a lot, examined very closely. But yeah, we made it now, and now it should be easy. Guys, I'm taking you with me now. Through Russia, if I see anything out the window, any interesting villages or places, I'll show them to you. And on the way, I'll ask Nastya 1 or 2 questions. I just wanted to ask, were you as stressed as I was when I sat there and woke you up? Or was it normal for you? No, it wasn't normal? A bit stressful? Yeah, a bit.
I mean, what's the worst case to go home, but that would be strange, across the border. I mean, I got stressed until she told me that I had to go on the same side, or that I had to go outside. That wouldn't be fun.
She couldn't wait with me. She had to cross the border before me. She wasn't allowed to stay with me, even though we wanted to be together, so she could help if I didn't understand Russian. That was what I had in my mind. What's something you would say is... In Russia, what did you miss after you emigrated to Finland, and what is cooler in Finland?
I feel like in Russia it's easier for me to be more spontaneous, like you just go do random things because they're cheap, easy, and plentiful. But it's not just about Russia, it's about Moscow, since it's such a huge city.
I think it's hard to compare a metropolis of 6 million people to Finland, which is small. I never saw that building.
It's Moskowska nearby. You take the metro here to reach the airport. So,
I have officially arrived in St. Petersburg, and now I'm taking a taxi home. Then I'll give you a room tour to show you what you can get for 20 euros in the center of St. Petersburg. I finally arrived at my address, and I have to say I live on a really nice street. The next videos will show what St. Petersburg offers and its true beauty. But yes, I live on this street.
With Airbnbs in Russia, the motto is always
Rough on the outside, great on the inside. You see from the outside the door? Well, the door looks normal. Now let's look at the floor. The floor is already a bit, wild. The walls are, well, you see from the outside you first get the feeling, where are you going now? So the stairs aren't that nice either. Now let's look ahead to see what the apartment is like. Okay, we finally made it. 30-40 hours on the road, finally in the apartment. I'll give you a room tour right away. So, the apartment definitely has a small kitchen, for cooking. So, you could say there's a living room. Everything is small, but really cozy in my opinion. I can study for college here, at the table. So, more specifically the living room. And then you go up the stairs. And upstairs there's a bunk bed. Now I'll show the bed again. In theory, 2 people could sleep in it. So it's like a double bed. At 2 meters tall, that's pretty good. For that, the price is really great. 20 euros in the center of the city. I actually have a nice view there too. I see these Baroque houses. so it's a small, simple apartment. But I always think it's pretty cool that you can still get an entire apartment for 20 euros. Because unfortunately, in other countries, you pay 20 euros just for a hostel room. That's quite a difference. And like I told you, it's run down outside. The stairs look run down, but inside people really make an effort with the furnishings. Like this marble, everything is newly done. I think you know what I mean. It's done in a stylish way, so my camera just turned off in the middle of filming. The bathroom. But that's really nothing special. Toilet and a shower. So guys, that's it. The entire journey. We've made it. Of course, there will be videos from Russia in the coming weeks. Mainly from St. Petersburg and Moscow. I hope you'll like them. Stay tuned for what's coming. I think you'll really like the next videos. Alright, see you again next Sunday. Until then, bye.